basically with eCoin, we had the challenge of trying to do game metadata on chain. We wanted to do as much of it on chain as possible, right? And we were looking at different ways of doing that, and kind of at the same time that we grew this idea that we had CIP68 came out offering also what I think is a long view into what it will become in the future. Not necessarily using CIP68, I don't know yet, but it's definitely the way to go towards decentralization using smart contracts to manage state for your game. But for now, I think there is no mature way to do it yet. And so what we chose is to find a way to use CIP25 in a way that could be updatable on chain in a way that was both secure and much easier, if possible, than minting and burning your NFTs a second time, because that sucks, obviously, for a lot of reasons. Like, people do not like having their NFTs duplicated in some weird wallet and then burnt. And also, if anything goes wrong, then you duplicate it. Somebody is NFT, right? That's super bad. Like, that's not great. And also, a lot of people, when I was looking around, I've been around since the beginning of NFTs and on Cardano, and a lot of people locked their policies out of good, legitimate concerns for security, but then now they're locked and they're trying to make a game, and they're like, oh, but I'd like to make it on chain and be cool and not have that be like super centralized in my database, but now I can't. Like, there's no way to update my NFTs. I'm kind of stuck. So and we had some legitimate questions like, okay, well, I've got to update like my horses, all my 14,000 horses every day, like to give them daily races. Like, I'm not gonna mint and burn 14,000 horses like in the evening every day. Like, the chain's not gonna like that. Nobody's gonna like me, and it's a horrible practice. So we were trying to look into different ways of doing that, and basically we came up with an oracle. An oracle is just posting data so it's available on chain. So that's the simplest way to explain what an oracle is. So what we wanted to do is have a way to post just a message that would adjust the metadata for NFTs. So have a secure way of defining how this message would be provably secure. So basically, in this case, what we do is we say your oracle defines an address, and that address you should be the only one with a key to, right? And you have to send yourself a message from that address to that address with metadata on it. So that's provably secure, because if you own the keys, then you're the only person that can send those messages. And then what you do is you just say, okay, well, for NFT X of my policy, you will change this field to this value. And so you're not minting, you're not burning, and you can change a single field. You don't have to give the whole metadata every time. So that has a lot of advantages in terms of the size of transactions, obviously, and the number of horses or of NFTs that you could update using that. So in every other way, it follows CIP25, right? It's literally just a little update live on CIP25. Some people have asked about limitations from this. You can update even multiple times per block. Basically, it will look at the slot of the update, and it will apply them in chronological order. Though to see the effects will be shown, or you can look at them on chain, of course, once per block, right? The update comes with the block, but there can be multiple updates within the same block, and they'll be applied correctly in the right order. So basically, then we had the question like, why couldn't we do something clever where you could update multiple NFTs in a better way? Let's do a batch update. So what we did was, you can say like update every horse of the equine horse policy and set daily race to 5, right? And that's a single message, single line, updates 14,000 horses, and costs nearly nothing. And so that opens up a lot of optimization for a lot of metadata updates that are recurrent. in games, and you'll have that all the time, right? Energy or HP or MP. You know, there's a lot of game mechanics that would require, okay, well, it's midnight. It's like the reset of the day's energy. Everybody gets their energy back, right? That's basically what we do for equine, which is the race, the daily race is energy, and then you get the monthly breeding, also shots and stuff like that that you're doing. And then there's ways to simply do mass updates with everybody having different values, but in efficient manner. So there's three ways. There's the post NFT per NFT updates, there's batch updates, and there's another way to just make the update a bit more compact if you're having to do a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, so regex metadata is the token name regex could hit something that you need. Let's say for us, it's easy to hit all the horses, but let's say Cardano warriors, if I could imagine that, you could easily hit only the demons, or hit only the dragons, or hit only the, using the regex, and say, okay, well, all the dragons get their dragon breath back to tree every evening or something, and that would be a single message. So that's very efficient. For a lot of game mechanics, I could see that becoming extremely efficient. So that's basically what we were working on, having ways to just post CIP25 metadata updates. And then the other question, of course, is, well, cool, you've got this Oracle, but somebody needs to know what's the current state of the game, right? So that's called an indexer, basically that looks at every block that comes into the blockchain, every block as they get minted, and it's a sieve, so it's basically a big filter, and it looks at whatever you asked it to look for. So you could say, look only for the address of my Oracle, right? You can disregard everything else from the blockchain, look only at this address, and every time there's something at this address, well, you read the metadata and you process it in some way, right? So you basically, you will update the metadata in a certain database for the current state of my game. And you could do that for multiple games at the same time. So we're building this indexer and the Oracle for equine in particular, but we also made it in a way that it would be customizable for any project. We will be giving out as open source. The only thing we won't give out is the private key of equine. We're keeping that. But everything else, you can see exactly how we're going to do it for equine. Basically, the whole thing, the whole configuration, how it will literally really work. The only thing you'll be missing is the key. And so you can use that as a basis for your game, and then just build on top of it and update your NFTs. And that'll be good. I think that the main motivation in my mind was a bit of an OG motivation of doing it for equine, also providing this for every game out there that promised a lot of things to their users in 2021 and 2022 and did not have a real good way of delivering on the aspect of putting metadata updates on chain. So hopefully that can help all of them. And everybody that has a smaller team and cannot really afford to do smart contracts dev, because it's still kind of hard and specialized, and it requires, audits, and there's a lot of complexity and money that needs to go into making smart contracts correctly. So not everybody can program their whole game state like into a big state machine that would provide for their NFTs to evolve correctly using CIP68. So I'm sure there will be future NFT metadata schemas that use Datum and that are similar or are CIP68 maybe. But for now, and also for smaller teams, I think this provides a service that's necessary and that will help a lot of us get our games on chain, like more verifiable, more public, more decentralized. So that's basically the motivation, what we're doing, an Oracle, an indexer, giving the code out and putting out a way to update metadata on chain. If I can point out, let's say an optional bonus, if everybody starts supporting CIP86, let's say pool.pm does, right? Well, you can now mint all your NFTs with no metadata if you want, and then post a single update that sets all the fields that are the same for everybody. So that would be a single NFT update. it would update all your NFTs with, let's say, the name of the collection, like everything that's the same for all of them. And then you just set their name and images in a second update, and you're, let's say, 10 to 100 times more efficient in terms of metadata usage on the blockchain. So that's one of the things you could do with it. If we ever get the chain as crowded as it once was, me and Cash lived through it, where we were trying to mint stuff, and the chain was always at 99%. There was no way to mint anything. It was super harsh, and everybody was minting at the same time, and the chain just could not handle it before it got a big boost in processing power and blocks. But if that ever happens again, let's say mass adoption comes before Hydra or stuff like that, and we get another congestion event, then there would be ways around that also using the CIP. There would be clever ways of setting the metadata of all your NFTs using a lot less data.